Canes escaped, I'll call it, with their 7th straight win last night against Philly. So, like the concrete, real, tangible test, they passed because they scored more goals than the other team and did enough to keep the winning streak alive. But my theoretical, intangible other test that I gave them yesterday, a lot of red ink on that paper. A lot of corrections. Yesterday, my request for the Canes was to make sure that they didn't play with their food. That's what I called it. Don't play with your food. You're going up against a team that is 27th, 28th, 29th in the league in most important stats. Goals scored per game, goals allowed per game. They weren't very good. They're dead last in the Eastern Conference in the NHL standings thus far through the first 3.5 weeks of the season, which obviously means dead last in the Metropolitan Division. I said, don't play with your food. You're playing well. You're on a 6-game win streak. You have a couple guys who are on fire. You are 8-2 to start the season. Don't play with your food. When you get a lead, have the killer instinct to end it. That was the challenge I gave them. And then they proceeded. They didn't just play with their food. I mean, it looked like they were trying to feed my 3-year-old toddler, right? Open up. Here comes the airplane. We play a game called Drive-Thru when he doesn't want to eat his food. He gets on this little car that he has in the house. He gets to go ride the car all over the kitchen, all over the living room, and then he swings on through and we give him a bite of food. That's what the Canes were doing with the Philadelphia Flyers last night. And do you know when I got nervous? Because I was watching it going, it feels, they're not really being hurt by it, but it feels like they're not locked in. And then I'm watching the game and I scroll onto Twitter. And I see Walt Ruff, team reporter, friend of the show, joins us often. He tweeted this out. It hasn't happened much. This is a direct quote from a Walt Ruff tweet. It hasn't happened much thus far this season, but the #Canes have tried to be too cute a handful of times tonight. A few errant drop passes have wound up going the other way, and they're fortunate that it hasn't burned them through the first 28 minutes. And I went, that's it. They're playing with their food. They're getting too cute. They're trying the fancy stuff. Rather than going from A to B, rather than just doing the simple thing that they've been doing and doing it well, they want to loop-de-doo. They want to go a little, hey, look what I can do. Philly opened the scoring, 1-0. Happens. Not going to kill them on it. Not saying it was the best, not saying it was great execution, but 1-0. 3 straight goals by the Canes. Martinuk, who I had as a first goal scorer, decided to wait and be the third goal scorer. Scored, put the Canes up 3-1. I'm looking at it going, I don't care how you got there. I don't care if you were sloppy up to that point. You're up 3-1 on a team that's not playing well. Slam the door. Slam the door, open, shut, move on. You beat the worst team in the division. Ho-hum. Let's get out of here. Business. Nope. That's not how it works. Turnovers in your own end. Soft goals allowed by Pyotr Kochetkov. Missed scoring chances on the other end. And like I said, you go through a couple of these phases of the game, and all of a sudden it's 4-4 halfway through the third period. And it's a completely different game. It's playing with your food. It's not just finishing your meal. Luckily for you, you have maybe the hottest player in the NHL in Martin Necas, and he said, even though I'm absolutely exhausted, and he said he was post-game, he's like, I guess if the puck's going to come this way, I'll try to score.
He said I was gassed.
Luckily, you have maybe the hottest player in the NHL, and he was able to bail you out a little bit. Here's Martin Necas on what was going through his head before that game winner.
Oh my God, I think last 2 or 3 shifts I made about 50 cutbacks, and we had some good zone time, and actually, last time I passed it up too early, I look up at the Jumbotron at the clock, and I saw 34 seconds left, and I was like, oh boy, now then we got to have to play the overtime. I was gassed, but, luckily one in, and, good teams find a way to win, just like Roddy said after a game, and, that's what we did today.
Credit to Martin Necas. Let's just get another multi-point night. I don't know what else there is to. It's unbelievable. This last 7-game streak that he's been on, I feel like we've already said every compliment you can say about a player.
Yeah, at the very end there, when he was on the ice, just trying to create everything that he could in the offensive end, and boy, did he.
So it's almost like it's nice to have that.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have needed it. You shouldn't have needed it.
You're going to have those games. 82 games of the season, you're going to need that every once in a while, even against a bad team.
I'm going to fight back on that because it's winning with, like, Max Scherzer is what I call it, right? When you go Max Scherzer, when you show up with your C- game, but somehow you walk off, you can't control your off-speed stuff, but somehow you walk off the mound and you pitch 7 2/3 and gave up 1 run, and it's like you didn't have your good stuff all game. I agree, over an 82-game season, you're going to need that. But when a trap game or a game like this is so obvious, you preemptively strike there. You show up ready and expecting it. Now, if you know, we talked about this throughout the season, but yesterday, you know, we put a 7 out of 10 on this for a big game. It's an in-division game. This is not one of those run-of-the-mill, like most grindy, like you show up and you don't have any. This is one you show up and everything was expected. You're playing a not great team. You're going to get ahead early. You're going to be the more talented team. It's what you do once you get there. And they didn't do enough once they got there. And again, it's nice to have Martin Necas, but you shouldn't, not saying you shouldn't need Martin Necas. You always need your good players to play well, but you shouldn't need the late game heroics in that game. If Philly was a 30% better team, I might go with the, hey, you have to learn how to win when you show up without your good stuff. If this were the second half of a back-to-back, everybody shows up a little tired, you were traveling last night, 100% I'm with you. If this were game 5 of that 6-game road trip they were just on, I'd be 100% with you. Like, hey, they showed up with their C- game and won anyway. Congrats. But this is not that. This is not that. This one is one that was Vegas-style neon lights blinking with an arrow. Hey, if you play your B-plus game, you win by 2 goals and it's no drama. Martin Necas was asked about that hot streak and basically asking if what he's been doing is feeling special.
Obviously, it feels better than what I've been, used to, but I was always confident in myself and having a great team and great line mates that we kind of figure out the way how we play and build some chemistry has been great. And, same kind of with the power play. And, it's always fun to play this way.
It's always fun to play that way. You're darn right it is. There are some harsh conversations. It's becoming like, well, obviously the Pyotr Kochetkov conversation we're going to save some time for later in the show because he gave up some that he shouldn't, and it's getting to the point where you learn those lessons.
Yeah, Canes only gave up 6 shots on goal the final 2 periods of the game, and 3 of those went into the back of the net. That's
a harsh conversation we're going to have with Pyotr Kochetkov, and we will. I'm not avoiding that. But also there's some turnovers in their own area that need to be like Roslovic to me is outweighing the bad with the good, but that doesn't mean the bad isn't there. The guy's kind of a little lackadaisical with the puck every now and then.
Yeah, no one handled the puck really well yesterday for Carolina.
But then he goes and scores, and it's like, all right, fine, never mind. The good outweighed the bad, but just barely last night. And then the empty netter does appear to make it less brutal, I guess you could say, right? It's the empty netter, win by 2. Everyone around the league that wasn't watching the game, like, all right, Canes won. High-scoring game.